What's going on, guys? It's your boy Abo here with All Things Sports. And before we get started on the video, I'd like to remind you guys to please give a thumbs up if you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That will turn this frown upside down. Now, Dez Bryant needs to be paid his money. This isn't a question. This isn't something to be debated. You need to pay him. Dez Bryant had 16 touchdowns last year, 88 receptions, 1,320 yards, 16 touchdowns. Now, the Cowboys relied on their run game to move the ball downfield and prevent stupid turnovers to protect that bad defense. But 16 touchdowns, most among receivers, is telling you that Dez Bryant punched in that football. Now, you're going into this season, you don't sign DeMarco Murray. Fine, fair enough. They're under the philosophy that Dallas' offensive line, you can put anyone behind them, and they'll be fine. They'll punch it in. Well, Dez is your best offensive weapon. And think about Dez, that arguably made him their best offensive weapon from a singular perspective that is excluding the offensive line, because technically if you want to include all five guys, that was their strength as an offense last year. But singularly from a single position point of view, that's a running back, receiver, or quarterback, he is their best weapon for simply one reason. Coverage dictates that you have to guard Dez Bryant. Now, the thing about the one point of when they played Seattle and beat Seattle in Seattle, this is a two-time Super Bowl making team, is that they played into Seattle. Seattle's thing is that we're going to keep Sherman on one side of the field, and we're going to throw everyone else on the other side of the field. So we're going to shut down your passing game, and we're going to beat you. Well, Dallas is one of the few teams that could match up with Seattle on the line, dominate them, and allow DeMarco Murray to punish them. 28 rushes for 115 yards and a touchdown. No debating that. But the thing about Dez is that on the 3rd and 8, when they needed a first down, you saw Dez Bryant beat Seattle at exactly what they wanted. And this is what makes him singularly a amazing receiver, arguably top 2 in the league. Personally, at this point in his career, I actually rate him as the best receiver in the league. Calvin Johnson at 6'5", having foot and knee injuries. You can't hit him high. They're going to keep hitting him where he's been hurt. And he's had so much usage where I see him just regressing little by little due to injury, not due to talent. But Dez Bryant, the thing that makes Dez so incredible is that I remember on 3rd and 8, they're throwing it on an outside fly route, about 25 yards downfield. Sherman goes up for it, and Dez just skywalkers right over Sherman and yanks it out. Even against the best corners in the league, he is the best athlete that I have seen. And for a select few that can actually match up with Dez, you have to commit to this man. You have to guard him. Even if he's not getting the ball, against every other team that's not Seattle with that ridiculous secondary, coverage will dictate that you have to give help to Dez, which means that the offensive line gets unbalanced looks, shifting to Dez's side, which allows you to operate as an offense. It allows you to do what you do best, which is still pound the rock. And if teams don't respect Dez Bryant and leave him out there in single coverage, you know where the ball's going, and Dez is going to win. He's a freak of nature. So, from Dallas's perspective, you're not re-signing one of your biggest offensive weapons at DeMarco Murray. So where is that money going? Why aren't you paying the man that's not only your best offensive weapon this year, but the heart and soul of your team? He's had some immaturity problems early in his career, but clearly he is the leader. And if you see him on the sideline and the camera's immediately focused to him, and he's irate, and he's yelling, and he's marching up and down that field, it's because he wants to win. The man is a competitor. If you're scared about paying him and seeing his production drop off, it's not going to happen, because Dez Bryant is one of the few receivers in the league that has the ability to go down as one of the all-time greats. It's a passing league. The rules dictate that receivers have the advantage, and this is one of the most talented players in the marquee franchise. The Dallas marketing scheme, in terms of promoting themselves and promoting their players, is second to none. He's going to get all the coverage in the world, and he is an outstanding talent with a quarterback and an offensive line that will give him time. So if you're Jerry Jones right now, and you do not sign DeMarco Murray, and you're playing hardball with Dez Bryant, what is this telling you? Dallas historically has always been the team that if you have a troubled individual, but they have immense talent or they have an ego, you can still come to Dallas, because no one player will be bigger than the entity that is the Dallas Cowboys. Deion Sanders is a wonderful example of this. Deion Sanders loved showing off the bravado, had some off-field things that made you, kind of think about it. But when it came down to playing football, Deion Sanders was big time. Emmitt Smith was big time. All of these all-time greats that Dallas had, half of them had some really shaky connotations attached to them, but when it came to football, they won, because that is what Dallas is known for. This is coming from a Giants fan, is known for winning. So if you're Jerry Jones right now, you're really going to go into the season without paying Dez Bryant. You're going to go down as the organization that didn't sign the leading rusher last year and then tried to lowball one of the best offensive talents in the league but your best offensive weapon this year, you got to pay him. You got to pay him for future free agents, future individuals that you draft, and show that Dallas takes care of their own when they perform. Plain and simple. If you don't do this, you're really going away from the precedent that Dallas set. Dallas is that team, man. If you come to Dallas and you perform, you get the fame, you get the money, and you get the win. Maybe not so much 2-3 years ago, but Dallas is setting that standard now. And I honestly feel like Jerry Jones isn't necessarily driving the bus in Dallas anymore, because if you think about it, Jerry Jones, 2 minutes before their draft, wanted to pick up Johnny Manziel. What did you do? You picked up an offensive lineman, the non-flashy pick, the route they've been going the last 3-4 years, and he ended up being one of the best rookies last year. So I kind of feel like Jerry necessarily doesn't have the say right now. I feel like other individuals within the organization are actually taking control of some of these football operations and actually advising him, giving him sound advice, because paying Dez with the mentality that Jerry Jones had before seemed like a no-brainer. And this upcoming season, when you don't have DeMarco Murray behind that backfield, you might have to rely a little bit more on throwing that football than you would like to last year. But you got to pay the guy. He's big time. He's entering his prime. He's going to be a beast for years to come. He can match up against any corner in the league, and you feel good about his chances. So in my opinion, you got to pay Dez Bryant. But that's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Please leave your comments down below. This is Abo for All Things Sports, and I'll see you guys later.